You're feeding an emotional void that didn't start with you. In the next few minutes, you'll begin to understand that the chronic heaviness in your stomach, the hunger that never goes away, and the discomfort when eating may not come from a physical cause, but from something emotional and ancestral. There is a tissue in your body called the visceral fascia. It works as a living archive of inherited somatic memories, recording traumas you never lived through, but that your digestive system carries as if they were your own. Recognizing this pattern will finally allow you to digest not just food, but the accumulated experiences that have been trapped in your body for generations. If you stop this video now, you'll continue to carry a weight you never chose, feeding a pain that wasn't born in you, but that your stomach is trying to process every single day. What's really happening inside your body, why this was passed down through your lineage, and how to break this cycle. All of this will be revealed next. Starting with the hidden code that turns the stomach into an emotional storage unit. This somatic archive holds information from up to 3 generations ago, traumas that your grandmother or great-grandmother couldn't process, tensions that their bodies encoded as survival patterns, and that now express themselves in your digestive system as if they were your own. In this context, the stomach is not just an organ that digests food, it becomes a memory tissue for emotional inheritance, trying to process experiences that were never yours, but that were passed down as a silent legacy. By the end of this video, you'll know how to recognize when you're feeding inherited pain, and you'll have a practical, vibrational release ritual in your hands, designed to break this cycle of transmission. Ancient Hermetic traditions already recognize the belly as a cauldron, a place where raw matter is transformed, where dense emotions need to be burned so that consciousness can expand. When this cauldron is overloaded with emotional residue left unprocessed by those who came before you, physical and energetic digestion becomes impossible. Hunger, in this sense, stops being just a physical signal of need and reveals itself as a coded language of ancestral trauma asking to be acknowledged. Both modern science and ancient traditions point to the same truth. The body carries messages that travel across generations, and the digestive system is one of the main territories where these messages are stored, waiting to finally be read and released. The gut contains about 500 million neurons, an autonomous nervous system that operates independently of the brain and stores emotional information within the very structure of the tissue. The vagus nerve acts as a bridge between the gut and the limbic system, sending signals that carry not only physiological data but also encoded emotional memory. Epigenetics has revealed that traumatic experiences can alter gene expression without changing the DNA itself, allowing these marks to be passed down for up to 3 generations as silent instructions to descendants. Bodies recognize as their own. When the visceral fascia remains contracted due to inherited memories, it blocks both physical digestion and the flow of energy, keeping the body trapped in protection patterns that no longer make sense in the present. The stomach starts to act as a container, trying to process emotions that traveled through the family lineage as survival codes, muscular tensions, visceral contractions, and hormonal responses that were installed in you before you were even born. There are traceable signs in your body that reveal these inheritances, and recognizing them is the first step toward breaking the transmission. The solar plexus is the nerve network located between the stomach and the diaphragm anatomically. It is a convergence center of autonomic nerves that regulate digestion, breathing, and stress response. Energetically, it acts as a vibrational portal where fear, repressed anger, and ancestral sorrow accumulate like dense knots, creating a zone of ongoing tension that blocks the flow of vital energy throughout the body. When this portal is obstructed by undigested emotions, the body interprets that density as a constant threat, keeping you in a defensive state, even when there is no real danger present. The polyvagal theory explains that the nervous system has built-in protection circuits designed to respond to real threats: hunger, physical danger, emotional deprivation. The issue is that inherited traumas keep these circuits chronically activated, as if the threat from 3 generations ago was still happening now. The body reads somatic memory as a present danger, slowing down digestion, tightening the visceral fascia, and paralyzing the diaphragm, all in an effort to divert energy away from internal organs and prepare you to fight or flee. The physical signs of this state can be tracked: acid reflux that appears without a clear dietary cause, bloating that persists even after restrictive diets, the sensation of a stone in the stomach that never goes away, breathing that gets stuck and won't flow down into the abdomen. These symptoms are not signs of failure in your body, they are calls for release. The solar plexus is signaling that something is stuck there, something that needs to be acknowledged before it can be released. An emotional burden that was passed down as a survival pattern, but that now only creates overload. Before each meal, place one or both hands at the base of your sternum, exactly where your ribs meet, in the center of your chest. Take 3 deep breaths, bringing your full attention to the space between your stomach and your diaphragm, as if you were opening an inner door that has been closed for a long time. Don't force your breathing. Let it flow naturally, without rushing, as you feel the warmth of your hands over the tissue that holds those inherited memories. This gesture is not symbolic, it's neurophysiological. Gentle touch activates mechanoreceptors in the visceral fascia, which send direct signals to the nervous system, letting it know that you are safe, that there is no threat, and that the body can finally relax enough to digest. This tactile communication breaks the loop of chronic alert and allows the vagus nerve to shift from sympathetic mode, fight or flight, to parasympathetic mode, rest and digest, creating the internal conditions needed for food to be processed without overload. In this context, compulsive eating reveals itself as a desperate attempt to soften the tension that is built up in the solar plexus with physical substance, as if eating quickly and in large quantities could dissolve the emotional density trapped there. But what the body is truly asking for is not more food. It is the release of the internal emptiness left behind by trauma. There is a second code embedded in the way you chew, and recognizing it allows you to uninstall even deeper patterns of inherited protection. The speed at which you chew carries invisible information about how your lineage dealt with scarcity, hunger, and emotional deprivation. When past generations lived under the real threat of food running out, whether because of poverty, war, or emotional neglect, the body learned to eat quickly as a survival strategy, making sure to absorb as much as possible before the opportunity was gone. That pattern was passed down as a motor code installed in the nervous system, and today, you might be repeating the urgency of those who came before you, even if you've never known hunger in your life. The jaw becomes tense, the muscles stay tight throughout the entire meal, and saliva production, essential for enzymatic digestion that should begin in the mouth, becomes insufficient. Food goes down poorly chewed, forcing the stomach to work in compensatory overdrive to process what should have been prepared during the first stages of chewing. Neurologically, eating fast activates the sympathetic branch of the nervous system, signaling to the body that you're in emergency mode, keeping the fight or flight response active, even during a meal that should be a moment of nourishment and safety. Chewing slowly is not about self-control. It is a ritual of presence that communicates to the nervous system that there is no threat, that food is available, that you have time. Every bite chewed mindfully, without rushing, activates the dorsal vagus nerve and allows the body to shift into the parasympathetic state necessary for full digestion. A relaxed jaw, deep breathing sustained throughout the meal, and awareness of the taste, texture, and temperature of the food. These are tangible gestures that begin to uninstall a pattern that no longer serves you. When you slow down your chewing, you're signaling to the body that scarcity is over, that the threat has passed, and that it is safe to process food calmly, and that message moves through the entire digestive chain, reorganizing how the stomach, the intestines, and the visceral fascia respond to the act of eating. But for the release to be complete, a third movement is required, a ritual of integration that seals the transformation and prevents the body from automatically returning to the old pattern. This ritual brings together the two codes you've just recognized and turns them into a daily practice of somatic alchemy, returning to the act of eating its original function, not as survival or anesthesia, but as a conscious reconnection with the temple body you live in. The vibrational digestion ritual combines these two codes into a daily somatic alchemy practice, not as a method of control, but as a gesture of reconnection with the body, as a living temple where transformation takes place. This ritual is built around three distinct moments that turn the act of eating into a conscious gateway for healing and release. Before the meal, place your hands over your solar plexus and take 3 deep breaths, preparing the body to receive not just food, but the experience of nourishment without carrying inherited emotional weight. During the meal, chew slowly with full awareness of the flavor, the texture, and the temperature of each bite, not as obsessive monitoring, but as an act of reverence for your own body. Every 3 or 4 bites, take a full pause. Set your utensils down, take a deep breath, and notice what is happening inside. Is your jaw tense or relaxed? Is your diaphragm locked or allowing the breath to flow down? Is your mind present or drifting into thoughts unrelated to this moment? These pauses interrupt the neurophysiological autopilot of compulsion and restore the connection between the mouth, the stomach, and awareness. After the meal, instead of standing up right away or reaching for a distraction, remain seated for 2 more minutes. Place your hands on your belly, close your eyes, and silently repeat, like a somatic mantra, "I don't need to carry what is not mine." This phrase is not an empty, positive affirmation. It is a command for vibrational release, instructing the body to let go of emotional loads that do not belong to you, allowing digestion to take place without the added weight of transgenerational trauma. Change doesn't happen instantly, it builds over time. Little by little, you'll begin to notice concrete signs of transformation. Lighter digestion after meals, a reduction in chronic bloating that once felt permanent, and a growing sense of internal space where before there was only heaviness and tension. Most importantly, hunger will return to being just that, a legitimate physiological signal of need, not an emotional escape or an attempt to fill an ancestral void that was never yours to carry. The Hermetic principle has always been clear. True transmutation happens in the belly, when the cauldron is finally cleared of emotions that were inherited but never processed. This understanding becomes even more tangible when we observe what happens in the body of someone who practices this ritual and makes the shift from overload to lightness. And that's exactly what you'll witness now through a real experience. Pauline was 49 years old when she realized that the discomfort in her stomach, which had been with her for decades, was never about what she ate, but about how she carried the act of eating. Chronic bloating after meals, the sensation of a stone in her abdomen, a quiet compulsion that made her clear her plate in minutes, Symptoms that had resisted years of restrictive diets, gastrointestinal treatments, and strict control that only added guilt without solving the problem. It was during a somatic therapy session that the insight came. Her body ate exactly like her mother's, with the same urgency, the same tension in the jaw, the same visceral fear that the food might suddenly disappear. Pauline's mother had grown up in real scarcity, a childhood marked by rationing, food insecurity, and the need to eat quickly before her siblings finished everything. That survival pattern was passed down as a motor code, installed in Pauline's nervous system before she ever had a choice. When she began practicing the vibrational digestion ritual, placing her hands over the solar plexus before meals, breathing deeply to prepare the body to receive, chewing mindfully to break the automatic urgency, something inside her began to soften. In the first few weeks, the bloating that had felt permanent began to ease. Her digestion became lighter, and her stomach stopped reacting as if it were under constant threat. But the deepest shift was this. For the first time in decades, Pauline was able to distinguish real hunger from inherited emotional emptiness. By ending each meal with her hands over her belly and silently repeating the mantra, "I don't need to carry what is not mine," she felt her body recognize that the scarcity had ended, not just for her, but for her entire lineage. Pauline's story is not about overcoming, it's about somatic recognition. She didn't need to force her body to change. She simply allowed it to release what was never hers to begin with. And what happened in her body can happen in yours, as long as you understand how to seal that transformation, so the old pattern doesn't automatically return. You'll know integration has begun when you notice clear physical markers. The breath flows all the way down into the abdomen without getting stuck in the chest. There's a sensation of warmth or expansion in the solar plexus area. The jaw naturally softens during meals, and the stomach feels less armored, less defensive, as if it can finally trust that it's safe. To anchor this new state in the body, practice the following signal. Gesture whenever you need. Place your right hand over your solar plexus, your left hand over your belly. Take 3 deep breaths while visualizing your inner space opening, and end with the internal phrase, "This body is my temple, and I choose what I carry." When you feel tension returning or a compulsion rising, that is the moment to activate the return point. Pause immediately. Place both hands over your belly. Take 5 deep breaths and ask yourself silently, is this hunger mine, or was it inherited? This gesture is not some abstract mystical ritual. It is a direct neurophysiological command that signals safety to the nervous system, breaking the loop of chronic alert and allowing the body to finally let go of the ancestral burden it had been carrying as if it were its own. What you've just learned about the body goes far beyond digestive techniques. It touches something deeper about what it means to inhabit your own flesh with full awareness. True digestive healing was never about controlling what you eat, or following strict protocols that treat the body like a faulty machine. It has always been about recognizing who is eating from within, which memories, which fears, which inherited pains are occupying the space where presence should live. When you release what doesn't belong to you, the body stops functioning as a storage unit for transgenerational trauma and returns to what it was always meant to be, a living temple where experience becomes wisdom, where food becomes real energy, where hunger finally just means hunger. When your stomach no longer has to digest emotions that aren't yours, it becomes able to digest not just food, but your entire life. The challenges that arise, the changes that scare you, the relationships that ask for vulnerability. The body stops being a battlefield and becomes fertile ground, where something new can finally take root, without carrying the weight of what was planted before. The visceral fascia opens, the solar plexus expands, and for the first time in years, you realize there is enough inner space to receive without needing to defend. Gabor Mate wrote something that deeply resonates with this truth. Trauma is not what happens to you, but what happens inside you in the absence of an empathetic witness. Your body has been that silent witness to the pain your lineage couldn't process, and now, by recognizing those somatic memories and consciously releasing them, you become the empathetic witness who breaks the cycle. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing the entire lineage, past and future, restoring to the body its sacred role. Because the body is a sacred temple, not as poetic metaphor, but as undeniable somatic truth. When we clear the cauldron of inherited emotions, we restore the body's capacity to be fully inhabited by the divine, not as an external force that descends upon you, but as a presence that was always there, simply waiting for you to make enough space to recognize it. God does not dwell in bodies weighed down by traumas that were never chosen. God dwells in bodies that have learned to release, to breathe, to digest only what is truly theirs, and to return to the ancestral void what was never meant to be carried. The hunger you felt no longer needs to be fed. It only needs to be recognized, named, and finally released so the body can return to what it was born to do. Receive life as a sacred offering, not as a weight to bear. When you eat with full awareness that this act is a healing portal, every meal becomes a ritual of reconnection to the simplest and deepest truth. This body is yours, and only you decide what it carries. If this content resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That helps us expand this field of knowledge to more people who need to recognize the weight they're carrying without realizing it. I want to know how this transformation is unfolding in your body. Leave a comment saying, "My stomach releases the emotions that are not mine." This affirmation seals your presence on the path of somatic healing and creates a collective field of vibrational release. Share this video with someone you know who is carrying emotional weight in their relationship with food, someone who needs to understand that hunger can be the language of inherited trauma. And don't stop here. Click on the screen and dive into another transformative video from the channel. Each somatic practice you integrate brings you closer to the version of your body that never needed to carry what wasn't yours. Remember, when the body is recognized as a living archive of the lineage, liberation stops being effort and becomes recognition. What was inherited can be returned, what was passed down can be interrupted, and the stomach can finally go back to digesting only what you choose to nourish.